Bitbucket back with my second video in a series of video editing with Blender. Now, if you recall in the first episode, I showed you how to set up the user interface here to be a little bit more user-friendly. Now, if you haven't seen that video yet, I recommend that you go watch it. There's a link down there in the description. The main reason being, if you download Blender and fire it up, it will look completely different from what you see here. Let's edit some video. First thing I need to do is prepare my video recordings. Now, I've set up a project folder here with different places to store things. One folder is Assets, where I store my raw audio, video, and any still images I use in the project. A Projects folder to save my Blender project file, in case I need to stop editing and come back to it later. And a Renders folder to store the edited video when it's done. I don't like accidentally deleting things that aren't meant to be deleted, and this layout helps keep me from doing that. So it's a little bit of self-protection there. I'm going to move into my videos folder. Here I have two recordings of my upcoming 7 Days to Die premiere video. Now, I use Dxtory to record my game footage. The main reason I like to use it is because it will split my audio tracks into a game audio track and a commentary audio track. Now, when I import these videos into Blender, it's only going to use the first audio track in the AVI file, which happens to be the game audio. So, in order to use the commentary track, I need to split it out of this AVI file into a WAV file. There are two ways to do that. The most convenient method is to simply right-click on the AVI file and click Extract Audio Stream. And you'll see it extracts both audio tracks as WAV files. This is fine for short clips, but for longer videos, such as this clip here, which is 51 minutes, it takes quite a bit longer to extract each audio track. And since I only need the commentary track in WAV file format, it would be more efficient to use another method to split that audio track out. Now, if you do use this right-click Extract Audio Stream method, be advised that the file names are named the same as your video file, but it appends an ST0 and an ST1 at the end of the file name. ST0 is the first audio track, ST1 is the second audio track. In this case, game audio and commentary audio. I don't need the game audio, so I'm going to delete that one. Okay, for this other clip, I'm going to use Virtual Dub. I'm going to go to File, open my video file. I'm going to use the larger track here. I'm going to go to Audio, Source Audio, and I'm going to choose Stream 2. And that will be my commentary track. Go up to the File menu and Save WAV. Now you see I've already done that here, and I've placed it inside my audio folder in my projects folder. Now, to get rid of this splash screen, I'm just going to use the left mouse button and click. And the first thing I need to do is get my video into Blender. Alright, so let's get some video and audio into Blender. I'm going to go to my assets and my videos. If I try to grab the file name and drag it down to the timeline, you see it draws a box, a selection box. Not what I want. Left click and clear that. I'm going to left click on the file name and highlight it orange, and then I'm going to left click and drag the icon and drag it down to the timeline here. And it's going to insert this video clip into the timeline. You'll see this vertical marker here, this green vertical marker here. This is called the playhead. I can move that around by left clicking, and apparently the picture hasn't changed from there to there. It's displaying the same picture, that's fine. I just want to show you one thing though. If I position the playhead somewhere and I drag a video clip down, it's going to insert that video clip into the timeline wherever that playhead marker is. Okay, so I'm going to undo that with Control Z and move back to the beginning of my project with this button here, jump to first frame. See here the preview window. The picture doesn't quite fill the window. See, I have a lot of black space. There's two ways to adjust your preview image. The first one is you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Scroll forward to zoom in, backward to zoom out. Or you can use the home key on the keyboard to have Blender automatically fill that preview window with your video. Now I'm going to use the mouse wheel again to scroll back and zoom out on the timeline. Another way you can zoom on the timeline, you'll see these scroll buttons here. They have little gray dots at the end. You can grab those dots and drag them to zoom in and out as well, also vertically. Okay, make those strips a little bit larger. Great, kind of center them in the view here. And we'll drag this out and we'll zoom it out. There we go, so that we can see the entire clip. Also, the home key on the keyboard does the same thing in the timeline view as it did in the preview window. Now you'll see the representation of the video and the audio in the timeline as what Blender calls strips. You'll see they're different colors. This kind of purplish strip is a video strip, and this kind of bluish green strip is an audio strip. Now if you have trouble remembering which color is which, you can very easily find out by pressing the N key on the keyboard, and it will bring up this properties window. I tend to leave this up all the time anyway because there's quite a few very handy pieces of information and also some actions you can perform using this panel here. One thing important to understand about Blender is when you're selecting things in the timeline view, Blender uses the right mouse button to select items. So if I want to select this video strip here, I'll use the right mouse button to select it. If you look over here in the Properties panel, you'll see it is the strip I have selected is type Movie. Now if I select the audio strip, you'll see this one is type Sound. If you scroll down a little bit, it will show you that this particular sound file has two audio tracks, a left and a right track. It's a stereo track. The length of that track, the volume of that track, it runs from 0 to 1, which is a percentage of the original volume. Right now it's playing at 100% volume. Pitch, you can do pitch shifting of the audio, and panning, right speaker, left speaker, in this case of the stereo track. If I right click on the video, you'll see it has blend mode, which we'll get into that later. Opacity, which if I drop the opacity down, you'll see that it will fade out and fade in. It also shows you that this strip is an identical 5,146 frames long, which is important. We'll get to that, come back to that in a moment. And I don't really mess with anything else in this window. You'll notice that there's a black vertical line here. This line denotes the end of our video project. Now when I click this animation button here to render my final video, Blender is going to render what is between this first dark black line that you can't see because it's behind the playhead, and this second black line, which denotes the length of the project. These lines correspond with these numbers here, start frame and end frame. If I wanted to encompass my entire project and render this entire area, I'd set the end frame to 5146. Do that now. I just use the left mouse button to click in that on that number and use the keyboard to type in 5146. I can also adjust it with these arrows here. I can also click and drag to move that around. Alright, 5146. Now that I've got my first clip loaded, I'm going to add my commentary audio. I'm just going to click that to highlight it orange and drag it down and drop it on the timeline. You'll see it added it right above my other audio track. Now let's do one other thing here that might be handy to be able to see as we're editing. When I'm working with audio in Blender, I like to be able to see the WAV file representation of the audio I'm working with. Now in order to do that, I'm going to use the right mouse button to select an audio strip, and in the properties window here, click Draw Waveform. Alright, and as you can see, Blender has drawn the audio waveform. I have yet to find a way to get rid of this information, this text information, in the strip view. However, one way to shorten it is to change the name of the strip. And this is just Blender's internal name. This does not affect what files are used or anything like that. I'm just going to call it A1 for audio track 1. And I'm going to right click on the top one and name it A2 for audio track 2. And you'll see it shortens this information, allows us to see a little bit more of the waveform. Okay, now you've seen how we can navigate the timeline a little bit by clicking, and it will move the playhead to wherever we click there. I can also click and drag. You'll hear little spurts of audio as I scrub the playhead across the timeline. That is this setting here, audio scrubbing, in effect. I can also use the right and left arrow keys to move one frame at a time. It's great for precision editing. Also, if you're moving strips around, if I know I want to go exactly to a certain frame, I can just click in this current frame indicator and type in the number 752 and enter, and Blender will jump to that frame. If I'm at frame 752 and I want to move ahead in the video 1 second, which for this video is 30 frames, I can actually do arithmetic right in the indicator here. I'll hit plus 30, enter, and Blender will calculate what frame that would be. Alright, let's actually edit some video and do some cutting. I'm going to move to the end here and find out where I want this particular clip to end. Probably right about there. I think we'll end it. Right click the first strip, hold down the shift key, and add strips to my selection by right clicking while holding down the shift key. I'm going to press shift K to make a cut, and then I'm going to select these little pieces on the end using the same method as before. Right click, hold down the shift key, right click, and use X to delete and left click to confirm. And they're gone. There's another type of cut I can use. It's called a soft cut, and what it will do is it will trim this area, but it will allow me to recover those frames later if I so choose. So I'm going to show you that example now. I'm going to right click, hold down the shift key, right click, and use the K key on the keyboard to make a soft cut. Right click, hold down the shift key, right click, X to delete, and left click to confirm. Now you'll see there's a little colored area here. First of all, you can click and drag to move the timeline around instead of using the scroll bars if you choose. That's clicking and dragging the middle mouse button to move the timeline. You'll see as I select these strips, there's a little tail here, and this is indicating how many more frames there are after this cut point that I have access to. Okay, so if I wanted to extend this video back out, I could do that. See, there's little arrows here at the end of the strip. Just right click on the arrow to select it, press G to grab that arrow and slide it to the right. And you'll see I can now extend that video back and recover those frames that I just cut off. Same thing with the audio. I'm going to right click and then hold down the shift key and right click again on those arrows. Grab them with the G key and extend them out. You'll see this number here, right up here, changes. That's the ending frame number. I can bring it right out to match the ending frame number on my video, and those strips are back synchronized again. Okay, so those are the two types of cuts in Blender. I'm going to use the Home key to show my entire project. Now I'm ready to bring in my big giant clip. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to bring it here right in at the end. And I'm going to click the highlighted orange and then left click. I'm going to left click to highlighted orange, left click the icon there and drag it down to the timeline. And again, it's going to insert it wherever my timeline marker is. Now this is my commentary audio track, and since I want to keep things organized, I want to put it right up here next to my first commentary track. I only want to move this up. I don't want to move it left and right at all. So I'm going to right click on the strip and press G and then Y, and now I'll only be able to move that strip up and down. I can't move it left and right, as you'll see there. Put it right next to that strip there. Say I only wanted to move this left and right and I didn't want to move it up and down. Instead of GY, I'm going to use GX. Press GX. Now I can only slide it left and right and I cannot move it up and down at all. Now to cancel an operation, since I don't really want to move that, to cancel the operation I'm going to use the escape key. Okay, I've got my second commentary track in. Now I just need my video recording. Drag it down. And there we have it. All right, let's play this back a little bit. Jump into here, find out where my game footage starts. About right there. Okay, so I'm going to clip this little extra bit off here using the right mouse button and the shift key, and using shift K to do the hard cut, and select these using the right mouse button and the shift key, X to delete, and left click to confirm. Okay, you'll see that this new clip that I've added lies outside of my project endpoint. So in order to include that into my project, I'm going to scroll over here to see how many frames long it is. You'll see that the video is 92,488 frames long. So I'm going to click on the end here and click again. So I'm going to add on to the end. I'm going to say plus 92488. And Blender's going to calculate the end of my project to be 97,634. And I think that's going to be a little bit short because of the space between the two clips. Oh, nope, look, it's right on. Great. That's exactly what I want. When you're playing back in the preview window here, when Blender hits the end of the project, it automatically restarts at frame 1. Now if you've got video beyond the end marker, you won't be able to see it in the preview window. Okay, let's listen to some audio now, see how it sounds. Once again, the game is smarter than I am. Okay, immediately I can hear that my game audio is much louder than my commentary. This is very easy to correct. I can right-click on these strips and adjust their volume independently with the volume property. Again, this is a percentage of the original recorded volume. Right now, each strip is playing at 100% volume. What I can do is turn down the game volume audio to make it about 40%, and turn up the commentary audio, make it about 200. You got to be careful. If you get this too loud, it's going to distort. But my mic tends to record low, so let's see how that sounds. Okay. Good. I'm starting off in the desert. I actually like the desert. Alright, you're going to hear a little bit of stuttering because I'm editing while I'm recording this video. Blender does not stutter on playback when I'm not recording, so I apologize for that. Once again, the game is smarter than I am. Okay. Good, I'm starting off in the desert. I actually like the desert. Okay, so I think that sounds a little bit better. I can actually edit audio and video separately or simultaneously. So earlier when I made cuts and I cut each strip simultaneously, I can actually cut strips separately and take out, just words or phrases out of my commentary track that I don't like. I can actually clip out words and phrases and rearrange them in the audio track if I don't like the way a sentence is structured. I can actually create a brand new sentence that was never spoken. I can rearrange my sentences if I'm sounding like an idiot. Combine two sentences. Anyway, just plain edit the audio separately from the picture. As long as I'm careful, I won't desynchronize anything past my edit. I'm going to turn on draw waveform here. Alright, if I zoom in here, somewhere in here is a word that I want to take out. I think it's right there. Okay. That's the one. Okay, so I'm going to, I've got this audio track selected, so I'm just going to hit Shift K to make a cut there. Okay. That's after the word I want to cut out, so I'm going to right click on this strip here and do another cut, Shift K. Now I can right click that part in the middle and click X and left click to confirm deletion of that one word. Once again, the game is smarter than I am. Good, I'm starting off in the desert. Okay, that's great. I've got a problem here. I've got a clip here and a clip here and some blank space in between them. It's not exactly how I want my end product to show on YouTube. So what I want to do is make a smooth transition between these two clips. One of the ways I can do that is by adding an effect strip. And there are a couple of different transition effects. One is a cross, which is otherwise known as a crossfade, or a wipe. And I'll show you a different kind of wipes you can do. The wipes are pretty nifty. I think I may actually use more in the future. But anyway, I'm going to left click and drag. No, I'm not. I'm going to press B to draw a selection box. And you'll see I have a crosshair now. And I'm going to click and drag around these guys here. See, now that I have those selected, I'm going to move up a little bit so I can see this area up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move these strips up here above my first three strips. Press G to grab and just slide those right up here. And I'm going to overlap them a little bit with my previous clip and use the left mouse button or the enter key to drop that in place. Okay, I'm going to show you why we overlap these in just a minute here. The way Blender's video engine works is it will play whatever video strip is on top of this stack here. Now all audio strips are mixed together. So as we move along here, you'll see it abruptly changes to my game footage. Okay, let's do it. Game already exists. My foot, I just deleted it. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit and show you what I mean here. Click here. And as I play this back, you'll see it abruptly changes to my game footage. Okay, you'll also hear that it continues to play the menu sounds, activation sounds in the background. So, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to grab these strips and slide them more to the right, because I don't want them to overlap that much. The way the transitions work is the transition length is however much your strips overlap. So if I wanted my transition to be about a second, I would put the beginning of the strip I want to transition to about 30 frames to the left of the end frame of my first clip. And I'll show you what I mean here. 48:21 is the end of the bottom strips. So subtract 30 from that. It's going to be about 47:91. So move this to 47:91 and press enter. If I need to, I can use the left and right mouse button, or the left and right arrow keys on the keyboard to move those one frame at a time, and enter key to drop it into place. I have those overlapped. Now I'm going to select two video strips. The first strip I'm going to select is the one I want to transition from. Hold down the shift key and select the strip I want to transition to. I'm going to add an effect strip and a cross. And I'm going to zoom out on the vertical here, and you'll see it added this little pink strip up here to represent the transition effect. And as I scrub through this, you'll see it smoothly fades from one clip to the next. That's the crossfade. I'm going to press X and left click to delete that transition. I'm going to add a different effect now. I'm going to add a wipe. Oh, I got to select my strips again. Right click to select the one that I want to transition from. Hold down the shift key, right click what I want to transition to. Add an effect strip and a wipe. Now you'll see the wipe effect at its most basic. I'm going to come over here to the properties panel. There's a few different settings we can play with here to make this transition a bit nicer. The in and the out will reverse the direction of the wipe. If I go to in, you'll see now it moves from bottom to top. The blur width will blur this transition line here. And I kind of like that effect. Looks pretty nice. Okay, and again reverse the direction. Okay, if I make the angle of the effect, if I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, now it's going to go side to side. Okay, again I can reverse the direction there. I can make it a 45 degree, and it'll go corner to corner. Or I can do any angle in between. Make it 20 if you wanted to. That actually doesn't look half bad for arbitrarily choosing a rotation angle. Okay. You can change the type of transition, make it a clock wipe, which will move around in a circle. Again, you can reverse the direction with the in and the out. An iris, which I'm personally fond of. Yeah, I kind of like those. The double is kind of interesting. I really like that one too, actually. That's pretty cool. And again, the opposite way. Alright. And that covers transitions. Now if I wanted to tweak the length of the transition, all I've got to do is adjust the amount of overlap. I'm going to grab and move those, and as you'll see, the wipe transition extends and also contracts with my mouse movement. And left click to drop that into place and finalize it. Now if I wanted to get rid of these audio tracks here, I would just, during the transition, I would just do a shift, just select the audio tracks, Shift K, and get rid of those. I'm going to Control Z to undo those operations and get those audio tracks back. It's going to take it a little bit. Yeah. Control Z undo. You need to be patient when using Control Z undo. Some of the operations can take quite a long time to reverse. Now, seeing as Blender was originally designed to do animation, most of these properties in the properties window can change through time. If I wanted these to fade out and these to smoothly fade in, the audio, I could do that by inserting what are called keyframes. Here I have the volume set at 100. If I insert a keyframe, by pointing, I have to point at the item I want to insert a keyframe for. So I'm going to point the mouse at the volume and press I to insert a keyframe, and you'll see it turns yellow, indicating there's a keyframe set there. Right-click the other track, I to insert a keyframe. Now as I move to the other end of the wipe there, I'm going to change this value by clicking and dragging to the left, set it to 0, I to insert another keyframe, and do the same thing for the top audio track. I to insert a keyframe, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not, but you'll hear it smoothly fade out. Probably not, because I think there was silence there anyway. Now if you decide you don't like those keyframes, you can use these buttons here to move directly to the next and the previous keyframe. And if I wanted to delete that keyframe, I could use Alt-I, and you'll see it turns green to show you that it has deleted the keyframe. Move to the next keyframe, Alt-I, delete that keyframe. And now it's gray, indicating there are no keyframes left. Now the volume has gone to 0, so we'll move that back on up to 1. I'm going to click and type in 1, enter. I can also do the same thing with a video track here. Say I wanted to fade out. Actually, let's do a fade to black at the end. Let's move to the end of the project. And I want to do a smooth fade to black here at the end. The first thing I need to do is, if I just fade out here, if I right-click this video track and scroll up to find the opacity. Where's the opacity? There it is. There's opacity. And if I take this to 0, you'll see I don't get a black screen. It's because this is the transparency texture. I'm not sure how that would render. I'm not sure if it would render black or checkerboard like that, but it doesn't matter, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effect strip and add a color strip. Color. Okay, right here. And we zoom in here. You'll see it's added a strip there. I'm going to right click on this arrow here. I'm going to grab it with the G key and slide it to the right. Make it longer. Left click to drop it there. See, now I have a block of color there. This block of black. Now if I come back here to this video strip, right click to select and slide this to 0, I get a nice black color, and that's exactly what I want. Put this back at 1, and I'm going to do keyframes again. So I'm going to insert a keyframe here, and click at the end of the strip, and bring this down to 0, insert another keyframe, and if we go back, you'll see that it smoothly fades to black here. Alright, this is Big Bucket. Alright, that's how I do a fade to black. Okay, let's say that I've got a section of my video here that is uninteresting, nothing exciting happens. I just want to cut it out of the middle here. Now it becomes a problem. It leaves a big gap. So let's just do that real quick here. Cut a section out with Shift K, make a cut, go to the end of the section, select the strips, Shift K, select the middle, and cut them out. Now I got a big black space in the middle. I could just select these strips and drag them over and drop them on top, but there's a very fast way to align these strips with the end. I'm going to click at the end of the strip there, and I'm going to select these three, and I'm going to press Shift S, and it snaps those strips right to the timeline marker, right to the playhead. Now it just so happens that I've made them overlap, and it's ready to add a transition right there. So I'm going to add a transition, an effect strip, a wipe, oh, I didn't overlap them very far, only overlap them one frame. So I'm going to select them, G to grab them, slide them over to the left here. Whoop, I didn't quite get all of them. My strips, I'm going to press Escape to cancel, right click in the blank area to deselect everything, and select them again. G to grab, slide them to the left, and make that transition a bit longer. Now you'll see, I'm going to turn off audio scrubbing for just a moment, and add that transition right in there. Now again, I could either fade these audio strips out, or I could just cut them out completely. And cut right to my next clip audio. The last thing I want to do here is I want to add a, I'm going to press home, see my entire project. I want to add my watermark to my video. I already have a graphic prepared for that. Global Assets, Watermark. It's a PNG file with transparency that I prepared in a GIMP. First thing I want to do is move to the beginning of my project. Alright, I'm going to drag that down, place it here. Okay, I'm not sure quite where that put it, but we're going to find out here in a minute, because I'm going to tell GIMP to, or not GIMP, I'm going to tell Blender that the length of this this image, I want it to be the entire length of my video, which is 97634, which I can see from the end here. Type that in and press enter, and now you'll see that it extends over the entire length of my video. Except for one problem. All we see is the watermark. It's because we need to change the blend mode. We change the blend mode to alpha over, and it's going to use the transparency channel in the PNG file to display whatever's underneath to allow it to show through. So now I have a nice watermark through my entire video. Now, down here at the end, when my video fades out, let's zoom in here. You'll see the watermark doesn't fade out at the same time. So what I need to do is add some more keyframes, opacity keyframes. I'm going to insert one. I'm going to go to the, I can use these to seek to the two keyframes there for the fade out. And I'm going to insert opacity of 1 there with the I key. Go to the end, drag it down to 0, insert opacity of 0, and you'll see when I go back and play it back, it smoothly fades out with my video. Alright, this is Big Bucket. Alright. Now, I like the way things are shaping up, and I think I've completed this video, so I'm ready to render. I'm going to scroll down and make sure that my output folder is set to point inside my project folder, and you'll see I've already done a test render there. and I'm going to save my project by going File and Save, and point it to be inside my project folder again. And you'll see I've already done a couple of tests there. Now I can come back and edit this later if I need to. Okay, I'm happy with this. Now I'm ready to render it. Scroll up here and click Animation. All of the render settings we set up in the previous video, I go over those in detail. If you're interested, go check it out. Well, that's it for editing a video with Blender. I really enjoy using this software. It's fast, it's easy to use, and it's fun. So as I learn to do new things, I'll be producing new videos, and I hope you'll join me. I'll see you soon.